everyone, and welcome to the Daily Dish. I'm your host, Kathy Rankin, and we have been having so much fun all week long with our guests, Steve and Annette Economides. They're America's Money Smart family and multiple New York Times best-selling authors. They've got a new book out, and guys, we have been talking about some great information and insight from you, and we're gonna wrap up talking about Christmas. I mean, this is the time of year we want to have fun with our kids. It's all about them. But how do we do it and not go overboard?
Great question. The first thing to do is to build on the sets that your kids already have. So if they collect Legos or Connects or Barbies, whatever it is, don't keep getting them the newest, greatest thing. Add to what they've already collected.
So what do you do to plan for the holidays then? We've kind of touched on it in other episodes.
Right.
How you sort of strategize and you
Right.
take advantage of the discounts and the sales.
We set a budget first, so we know what we're going to spend on each kid, and we have the money already saved in our checking account. Then we start buying what we start buying all year long. And we also realize that sometimes
Used is okay. Like our daughter
Yeah, I love
collects
this.
out-of-print books. This is a 1968 first edition, Horses of a Different
That's
Color,
amazing.
Ralph Moody. It's part of the Little Britches
a
series.
classic.
Our kids also buy for each other, and our daughter had very limited means one year of what she could spend, and so she decided to make some presents. And she made pillowcases with themes for each of her brothers.
used doesn't mean I love you less.
Right.
It's basically we're thinking about what they would appreciate. We find a deal on it. We bought a used volleyball for our daughter one year when she was playing volleyball. She loved it. You know,
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be brand
bounces
new.
just as well.
Right,
The words
exactly.
in a used book are just as powerful.
Right.
So it doesn't really matter. Now, you may not want to do that for extended family unless you know that they're okay with it.
Right.
Well, it sounds, again, like it goes back to the core of what you guys teach. Like you really instill these principles in your children from such a young age that they don't expect the overdone gifts. And I mean, how have you guys stuck to that without caving when they're really wanting something? Because you talk about entitlement.
You're right, though, Kathy. Our kids have grown up with it, so they are much less likely to have high expectations for things. They know that they'll get very thoughtful. They have a pile of presents under the tree. I remember when we were doing a lot of media, one of my daughter's friends actually bought her a bunch of Christmas presents one year because she thought she didn't get Christmas presents from us. And the truth is, we do it up big for the holidays, but we always keep our budget in mind. So if you're just starting out this year and you know what, finances are tight, I would say it's time to sit down with a family meeting and just say, Christmas needs to be different this year.
Right.
You know, it doesn't mean we love you any less, but we need to look at what we've got and we need to change the way we do things.
And I do think Americans have been learning that this last few years.
Yes, they have.
People have learned that, you know, we can pull in and still have a good time, and maybe you focus on some more important priorities like being
Right.
together. And
Yes.
it's the journey, not the destination.
Yes.
Right, and you know, one of the coolest things Annette did, and she's so good about this, is when the kids would get their presents from relatives out of town and everything, Annette would help them write thank you notes. Now, it wasn't the fancy kind like this. I mean, sometimes they do these now. It was an 8.5 by 11 piece of notebook paper, and she wrote on the top, "Dear Aunt Diane," and each of the kids would just write one sentence, "Thank you for whatever," and she sent it off to them. The relatives, like my dad, he's out of town. He says, you know, none of my grandkids ever say thank you.
Your kids are the only kids out of
Wow.
all my grandchildren that send
And it
thank
is,
you
I
notes.
think it is something that kids are missing these days, is that gratefulness. And
Yes.
you do have to teach
It
that.
helps
Yes.
them understand that what they have has really been given to them by someone else. It's a generous thing. It teaches them to be generous. It teaches them to be grateful, and they're okay with what they have.
And there are some charities that are specifically geared for children that your kids can participate in. There's an
Yes, I love
there's
this
an
idea.
organization called Operation Christmas Child where you put together a shoebox for kids in war-torn countries and they get shipped out, and that happens during the month of November.
Do you find that since you've taught your kids this, that they appreciate things so much more? They
Yes.
get more joy out of what they get?
Yes, they do.
Because
They
I've had
really
friends
do.
where they've given their kids everything, and at Christmas it's just like they toss things aside. They
Yes.
don't even pay attention to it.
Even if we could afford to give our kids everything, it wouldn't be giving them what is really important, and that is the ability to stand on their own, to be financially independent, to be generous on their own. That's the best gift we can give our kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Great message. You guys, we have really enjoyed talking to you this week. I think you guys have given us some really powerful things to think about all year long for everybody out there, and I think now is the time to hear this message. So thank you so much, and good luck with the new book, and we'll see you guys again on the next Daily Dish.